y'all. Welcome.
Hey.
She ready. Somebody ready for the day. Yeah, I love it. Let's do this thing.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Sitting Down with Us for Beyond the Church.
Yeah.
By now, y'all know I'm Pam Clark.
I'm Kerry Clark.
And Jessica
Anderson.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's fine. No.
Don't worry, it'll be sub-captioned at the bottom of the screen.
So y'all, this is another little peek into conversations that my husband and his sister and I have together. So we're going to share it with y'all. So today's conversation revolves around church everywhere.
Church everywhere.
Church everywhere.
Not just somewhere, but everywhere. Okay, I like this.
Really what happens beyond the church. So
Yes.
outside of those church doors, what happens? Church everywhere. So I'm going to shift it to you for just a second. Kerry, you want to tell us a little bit more about your thoughts about this subject?
So, there's a lot of different ways I can come with this. But church isn't just at the local church. As you said, the reason we titled this, church is everywhere. Except the problem is we treat it today like it's only at the local place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We forgot about the church everywhere. And today we're trying to at least plant some seeds of vision of where this podcast and these recordings should be taking us.
Hence, church beyond the church.
Yes, beyond the church.
Beyond.
And so with that in mind, we're saying that, we're not just going to sit back and rely on our local church to give us everything that we need to do to represent the church. We got to do that at home, in our workplace, on the job, when we're at one of my favorite stores like Walmart, hers is Target, this is a Target. Anyway, I'm surrounded by Target people. No offense, Target, but anyway. But my point is, church should have it in these places, at your schools, at the swim meets, at the practices. What? Go ahead.
Easier said than done.
No.
Hold on.
Go.
How do you make that happen?
Mm-hmm.
Because some people would say that's easier said than done.
And that's why we're talking about it today. So put that out of your head, that easier said than done.
Because you were about ready to.
Yeah, I know, because all we're saying is easier said than done is an excuse for us to continue to be lazy when it comes to the things of God. And laziness is not a byproduct of a believer. So as soon as you're lazy, that is anti-scriptural, aka anti-Christ. Okay, I hate to go there so early in our recording, but sometimes you just got to do that. So anyway, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. All of that is true.
Can I throw something in here? I like to watch politicians, and I pick up a lot of good tools and information from them. Now, take that with a grain of salt, because some things people throw out to you as a politician is, left or right. Y'all know how that goes. But there's something I noticed with a politician. They always, you can always get what they're trying to throw at you. The message they're trying to send. No matter what question it is, they always throw something that some message they're trying to, their underlying message. Our underlying message is to always present the church, one, in a positive light, but two, to make sure that that the church is not them, it's you, it's me, it's us. And
that's what people forget.
That's right. That's what we forget.
Well, they go to church on Sunday and forget to do it the rest of the week.
Mm-hmm.
So, I get it.
Absolutely.
So, and that's where we're going. There's some statistics going around, however, but I can't stay here because I know you got a lot you want to talk about in this episode, so I can't stay here. There's some statistics going around that the church in America is stale and declining.
That is true.
However, you'll hear churches talk about new campuses and new church openings, and what that is, it sounds good, and it is good to plant churches, don't get me wrong. However, all that is doing, for the most part, is moving members from this church to a new church because of this idea of beyond the church. There are some people in the local church today who want to do more.
Yeah.
They just, go ahead.
But would you say it's on the decline because, back to what Jessica said, we don't do anything outside of the building?
Are they considering, because I know a lot of people don't go to church, but what about all these podcasts that are out, so they stay at home?
So church is convenient.
Yeah. So are they considering that too?
Yeah. Okay. They're not considering that. They're considering the physical presence in the church, which where we're fighting to turn the corner. We're not trying to get people in the local church. I know that sounds terrible, don't it? I know it. We're trying to get the people who are not in the local church to become the church because that's a missing gap. Okay? Yes. There are a lot of people who just stop going and we're after them. I'll tell you that right now. We don't need to be after the people who are in the local church. They're dedicated. Yeah, they're doing. In fact, the only thing we want to do for them is to encourage them to join us in this fight to get God's church in action.
Because I think if you do that, if you meet people where they are, they'll come to your local church, right? When you meet them where they are. Yeah. So I think we have a scripture that goes along with that.
Go ahead. Do tell.
Get ready, Jay.
Be careful. Okay.
This is coming from John, 2nd chapter, 1 through 3, NLT. And that little heading, the church at the party.
That's the heading. The church
at the party.
At the party. You like that. The church at the party. Now, that brings up a lot of questions in and of itself.
What you mean the church at the party?
Well, exactly. Right. What you mean the church at the party? You know, I love this kind of stuff. The church at the party. Let's look into can the church be at the party?
Yes. So the next day there was a wedding celebration.
The next day, okay,
there was a wedding celebration.
Celebration. Listen to the word. There was the Bible. This she's reading from the Bible, and it's talking about a wedding celebration. This is good.
In the village of Cana in Galilee. Jesus' mother was there.
Yeah.
And Jesus and his disciples were also invited to the celebration.
Pause for a second. It says Jesus and his team, his group, his tribe were invited.
But it gets better.
Hold on. I can't let you slide. I can't let no preacher slide. I can't let no teacher slide. This thing said they were invited to the celebration.
Yes.
And if you know most wedding,
I'm getting there.
hold on, celebrations and after, what do they call it? Receptions.
Yes.
The preachers are asked to vacate the place. And in this regard, Jesus and his disciples were invited to the place. In fact, I don't think we've done church until we've been invited into the place.
Guess what happened at the celebration?
Go ahead.
The wine supply ran out.
The wine supply? Why would the Bible talk about wine?
Because we need it.
Oh, she said. We do need it to talk about the wine, okay?
Right. So the wine supply ran out during the festivities. So Jesus' mother told him, they have no more wine.
They have no more wine. Now, why would that be an issue for the church? Because the church should be at the party.
Church should be at the party. Okay.
Because church is everywhere.
Yep.
In fact, I was listening to something just today, and it was talking about a church who had a hamburger eating contest for Jesus. And I got mad. Here's why. It sounds good at first. I was like, oh man, they got all kind of festivities for kids and people. And I said, as soon as you have to say for Jesus, that's where the problem is. Anytime we as church people do something, it should be automatically implied that it's for Jesus. Yeah. So it ain't nothing we do that's not for Jesus. So when we have to say for Jesus, that means everything else we do isn't for Jesus.
That's good.
Yeah.
What about the church out and about?
The church can be out and about.
John 4.
Hold on, Jessica might be stewing over there. I see her digging in her notes. She might have some.
No, I like that. No,
Okay. Yeah. The church out and about.
John 4, 9 through 10. Yeah. And all this, y'all, is NLT, the New Living Translation.
Yeah.
The woman was surprised, for Jews refused to have anything to do with Samaritans.
Hold on. The woman was... people got to learn how to read the Bible, too. And that's one thing we want to help people with. You got to slow down through this text because sometimes we miss the most important things because we're in church a lot and we're in church out of reading the word, by the way. Anyway, beyond the church says we got to get back into it deep. Yeah. But this lady said she was surprised. Maybe the people you run into could be surprised, but they're not.
What you mean?
Yeah.
I knew you was going to fall for it. Because Jesus stopped to speak to the lady. Most of us in the church won't even stop to speak to the people.
That's true.
We won't stop at the well. We won't stop for the sinners. We won't stop for the people hurting. We won't stop for the lost. We won't stop for the people on the job. We won't stop for the lady in the mail room that I bump into all the time. We won't stop for people. And this is why she's surprised. Usually people like you wouldn't stop.
Wow.
Well, she goes on and she said to Jesus, "You are a Jew and I am a Samaritan woman. Why are you asking me for a drink?" Jesus replied, "If you only knew the gift God has for you and who you are speaking to, you would ask me and I would give you living water."
And all I want to say to this is for people that's going beyond the church. Jesus is saying, we're like Jesus. There is a gift that we have for that person that we need to stop for.
Well,
go ahead.
I think that's where we get confused. We don't always realize that our gift isn't necessarily for us, but it's for others.
It's always, it's always for others. Your existence is for someone else. That's why we're sitting here today under these hot lights, recording, talking, conversing like we normally do. We have these studies all the time. We had one just yesterday or the day before.
About Leviticus.
Don't give me on the Levi.
We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that one.
Anyway.
So the church in the marketplace.
Yes. The church in the where?
Marketplace.
The marketplace. Now, when I first thought about that, Pamela, some days ago, I really called it the workplace, but I didn't like that terminology because the marketplace expresses something different. Because in the workplace implies you work for somebody, but we don't want to limit it to that because there are some people who own their own places of work. And so we say the marketplace, the place where everything happens.
All right, so let's read and see what happened in the marketplace.
Okay, let's see what's happening in the marketplace.
Matthew 9 through 12. As Jesus was walking along, he saw a man named Matthew sitting at his tax collector's booth.
All right, so this is in the marketplace. So Jesus walking along, he gets to a business. People miss that.
That's right.
And it's a tax collecting business, just like what H&R Block. He walking down, he sees not H&R Block, but he sees Matthew's tax booth.
Right.
Okay.
Yep, and he says, "Follow me and be my disciple." So Matthew got up and followed him.
Now,
later, Matthew invited Jesus and his disciples to his home as dinner guests, along with many other tax collectors and other disreputable sinners.
Wow.
Matthew invited Jesus.
Matthew, the business leader person, could have been small business, whatever, invited Jesus. What was it?
Many tax collectors.
And with his friends, he said, "I'm going to invite you into my world." That's what I like about that. From a marketplace encounter, the marketplace person says, "You know what? I would like to have you come into my home."
Yeah.
By the way, what this is saying in a bad light on, let me say it this way. What we have done as the local body of church is made it where people don't want us at their house.
Oh my goodness.
Trust me, I'm a victim of that too sometimes if I'm not careful.
That's true.
I think too, like, people at church get too cliquish.
Yes.
Where they just want to be surrounded by each other.
That's right.
And not take it outside of the church walls.
Yes.
But listen, so this is going to go. The end of this fits into what y'all are saying.
All right.
But when the Pharisees saw this, they asked his disciples, Jesus, that is his disciples, "Why does your teacher eat with such scum?"
Wow.
When Jesus heard this, he said, "Healthy people don't need a doctor. Sick people do."
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, notice what the church people, the Pharisees was the church people. That's represent the local church, by the way. The Pharisees says, "Why is Jesus hanging?" The Pharisees call the people who are not in the local church scum.
Sure did.
God would never do that.
No, he would not.
And that's where we're doing, there we go. That's what we're trying to do is to get people to go beyond that church name, that church looking at people like they're scum. In fact, some of our closest friends that we're invited into, they're not churched. That's what I love. I love it. We were at a hospital just recently visiting some good friends of ours, and one of the ladies in the group, she slipped and said a cuss word, and then she realized, the priest in the room, and I felt her pain. I felt it. I'm like, it's okay. You good?
Right.
You good? It's okay. You because at that moment she was in the presence of the church.
That's right. And so how we react matters.
Yes, how we react matters. And if I shun her or embarrass her or even judge in this regard, judge her, guess what? I'm not going to be able to. I'm not going to be invited into the space. Therefore,
And
I
then
can't.
she has a ugly picture of how the church looks.
That's
Exactly.
right. That's right. Hence the reason she went through that trouble to say, "Oh, excuse me," do all these things, because she had that picture, that false picture, that wrong picture, that picture of the church calling her scum.
Yeah, that's true.
Where Jesus said, "Oh, the tax collector."
Ooh, we got to do better.
Anyway, I'm so sorry. I went too far.
We got to do better.
We do have to do better because that happens all the time.
Can I just say one more thing?
You sure can.
I think what I've come to grips with is, I think I don't even like to say this because I really don't want to use this phrase. But the point, the truth is, I really love the church. Like I love.
Oh, we
church.
can attest to that.
I mean, I hate saying that because I don't want to be that person. But I really love the church.
You do.
And we're going to see to it that the church grows, gets better, goes further. And that's where I am. This week I kind of realized that, you kind of love the church.
But I think having these kinds of conversations going beyond the church is what helps to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Because some people they don't have, to our point earlier, sometimes church people make people feel like they don't have anybody they can talk to or ask questions of. So going beyond the church, I think, is what we're doing.
Yeah.
So this is good. Good.
Cool. All right.
Guess what's next?
Oh, I'm
Drum
nervous.
roll. Hot topic of the day. Beyond the church, our hot topic, Jessica.
Let's
All right.
see what you got today.
Y'all
Jessica.
ready? It's your read.
Listen, I have no idea.
It's amazing how my hot topics be going along with the theme sometimes.
Well,
Yeah,
good.
It does.
It really
Okay.
do.
All right.
Okay. So I was having a conversation with a relative of ours, and we were discussing how she felt lonely in church. So it got me to thinking, like, can church feel lonely?
Okay.
Wow.
Okay, can you feel
While
alone?
Kerry-
The door, the physical church, going to
Right.
church.
Okay, well, hold your thought, because I know you got a lot. But this goes back to what you said about how church can be cliquish, right?
Mhm.
So yes, I think you can, in that sense, feel like physically
Yeah.
lonely. But I think you
Yes.
can also feel probably, if you can't connect to what's being said, you can feel lonely from an emotional perspective, if that makes sense.
Well, y'all know how I've been small group hopping.
Shopping.
Shopping. Let's go to shopping.
Okay,
Not
Yeah.
hopping.
Okay.
Shopping.
We believe in finding a small group that
Right.
works for you.
Yeah.
So she
Yes.
shops.
So
Yeah,
I
you get
shop
you a group
for
that
small
works for you.
groups.
Yeah.
And I like them,
I like
right?
the word hopping though.
Shops.
If I may tell the truth, it's hopping.
It's hopping, but we're going to say shopping.
Yeah,
Okay.
shopping.
And I feel,
Uh-huh.
it's my personal opinion,
It is.
it's tough. It can be tough. You can feel alone. We've been going to church for a long time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've been small group shopping, and I feel I probably connected with maybe, I'm gonna say, like 1 or 2 people. And
In your small groups?
in my small group, right? But those people I don't even go to the same service with, and probably not even the same campus. So
Wow.
it can feel alone. It can feel like you're lonely sometimes. But a lot of people don't have like their family. Like we have each other at church and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So what would you tell somebody to do if they felt,
Yeah.
alone at church and they tried to get out there?
I like the way you fixed that because I was about to go a whole another angle. It's good. So the first part of it is, can you feel alone? Obviously, the answer is yes. You've already answered that. You've even given a good example in how that's even possible. It's 2 sides to the coin. All right. It's the people in your group that didn't make you feel invited or welcome.
Yeah.
That's A.
Yeah.
So don't let me forget about A. And B, what can you do?
Yeah.
Because we got what others,
But you
and
have
then
to-
B, and what we can do. So let's start with the others first. The others need to recognize that it's not always easy for an outsider to fit in.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Okay, when we don't do that, the group should be conditioned to come after you. In fact, you should be in overload,
Right.
Like when that doesn't happen, all that means is we got to click. And we're trying to hold.
But let me say this: the group is
Yeah.
not just a small group. The group is the people in the church.
Absolutely. I'll give you a
Right.
prime example. I grew up in a community that had like 5 churches, and there's a few churches, one of which I remember strongly, you couldn't get into that one. You needed, you weren't saved enough to get in one church.
Mm.
Now just think about that for a minute.
Wow.
You're not even saved enough to get in that one. You got to be next level saved to get in this one church. You need to default to one of the others, otherwise you can't fit. Now that's just, anyway, not to bash that there's some good and bad to all of that. The point is, it takes someone inside to bring you in. You and I talk about this all the time. Sometimes someone has to endorse the new person. Endorse.
Which, and that's true, but at the same time, it shouldn't be that way.
It shouldn't be. True.
I mean, it shouldn't.
And what I mean by that, if you're in a group of people and someone in that group says, we see that Jessica is not fitting in, there should be a person in there to feel compassion. That's Jesus, just compassion. And says, I don't think Jessica's really into the group. Let's get Jessica's opinion. I was with her and she says that you got to do some, there's a part that we have to play as the people beyond the church to bring other people in.
Right.
Now, can I go to the other side of it? What we can do?
Yes.
I learned this next one recently from a college tour that we had.
Really?
Yeah. I know where you're going.
Young guy whose name I can't remember. It's in my notes. Anyway,
he was
giving us a tour around one of the colleges, and he had a habit, a routine of learning people's names, but not in the sense of just knowing them. He put them in his phone.
Okay.
Like he meet us, he
was so intentional.
Yes, intentional about it. And what he said was, if you want to feel like you're a part of the family, go in and ask people their name. And every time you go, you speak to them. Say, like if you go to the same restaurant, and you know the same coffee shop, and you know the same people in that coffee shop, when you get in there and you see that your favorite barista is there, you just call the name. You get to know them. And that way, the next time when they see you coming, they'll probably call your name. And now you just made community in a place that it wasn't even built for community. And the same thing has to happen in groups, church, local church, outside. It happens in our workplaces too. We see it every day in the workplace.
I can remember when we first started our local church, because to Jessica's point, we were family, so we were all going together. How intentional the usher and even a greeter. There was a greeter that would meet us, and the usher who
I know both their names.
See us, Jay and
Mr. Scott.
Mr. Scott. And they were intentional about getting to know who we were. So much so that when they would see us walking in the parking lot, they would say, "The Clark!"
We have to be that way.
And it made us feel connected. Although we didn't know everybody, we didn't know everybody on our local campus, but that made a difference.
It was thousands of people at this campus, and every Sunday we walk up, rain, cold, hot, doesn't matter. That guy would be out there.
Mr. Scott. Yeah, it was good.
Isn't that wonderful? But that's what we have to do in that regard.
That's really good, though. I mean, that was a good hot topic.
Yes, I like that. I didn't see that one. Yes. But let me say this though, it happens.
It does.
More often.
Times than we.
That's right. And if we don't put a stop to it, it'll continue to happen.
Well, you know what though, Kerry? I would say that we are intentional about it, so much so that we get in trouble for being so intentional about talking to people.
Okay, maybe I gotta stop getting upset with y'all. You're right. I'm stop getting upset. Now that I think about it, that's not the right thing. People are feeling lonely, and I got to do better. Okay, do better.
But before we go on, let me give us a next level. I mean, beyond the church action.
I was actually just getting ready to go.
Oh, you going there?
You go ahead, though.
Okay. This is a new action item.
It is.
And I never thought about just till now. Here's how you identify that lonely person in the church or in your group. One, they're quiet. That's obvious.
Yeah.
Two, the easiest way, they're probably sitting in the back. How about grabbing their hand and say, "Hey, Sally, will you, or George, will you come sit with me up front?"
You know, we have to remember, it's just as awkward for, like, some people may not want to do that because they think, "Oh, that's just so awkward," but it's just as awkward for that person.
That's right.
That is true.
That's right. Or sit next to them. "Hey, I see this spot is open. Do you mind if I sit next to you? I want to get to know you."
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's easy to identify, but it's just as easy to take an action.
Now remember, you don't have to just do this in the church. This
No,
is
this is
the church.
This is beyond. In
This is
fact,
beyond the church. Your kids are starting school. There's going to be new kids
Yes.
in school. Teach your kids style around,
Yes.
how to go up and be welcoming to the next person.
Yes.
And your marketplace and your job.
That reminds me of our daughter's now, Tamia, she's a senior. And I remember when one of her friends had first got into her school, and Tamia did that thing. She said, I'm going to bring you into my friend group.
And that's what we need. We need it everywhere now. Like,
that's church everywhere.
That's church everywhere.
That's church everywhere. Yeah, that's church everywhere.
That's beyond the church. So our action again is?
This week, let's each and every one of us, we have a month, because I think it's a month between these recorded, whatever. Between now and the next release of an episode of Beyond the Church, let's take several opportunities to notice the person who is alone or lonely and do something. Take one action. Don't make it hard and don't overthink it and don't even hesitate. Don't let fear rob you of being the church.
That's how you go beyond the church, y'all. Hey, thanks for joining us again. And until next time.